Hey YouTube, Longboys Post 1975 is a question down there. Games, that you absolutely loved back in the day. They rocked your world. As a kid, you sunk so much time into them, it wasn't funny. But somehow as an adult, you just can't play them, whether they've aged badly, or there's some other reason that they just don't work for you anymore, is what I'm trying to say. Now, as I always say, taste is subjective, so they may not necessarily be bad games. So, what you think is shit, I may think is shiny, and vice versa. But yeah, I want to talk about a game that I've, that inspired this video or this question, because I came back to it very, very recently, and it's been in my collection, or my Repiece Together Mega Drive collection, for a while, but I haven't sat down and properly caned the crap out of it. But I've been playing a lot of Shinobi lately, and when I sat down and tried to play this game, and as I said, it's not to say it's a bad game. Graphically, it's amazing. The sound is, really, really good. The controls are tight, but I don't understand why I thought it was so amazing as a kid. And that game is Super Shinobi on the Mega Drive. Now, before you all say, hang on, that's an amazing game, as I said, taste is subjective. Let me go where I'm going to go with this question. I've been playing a lot of Shinobi, on the PC Engine, on the Sega Master System, and how I've even grown to love the NES version, although this is better than the NES version. And I love the arcade version of Shinobi. But this was a game back in the day that absolutely rocked my world. I don't think it was a launch title on the Mega Drive, but it's 1989, so it's pretty, as close as you can get. And it was one of those games that I used to rush home from school to play. I used to go around my mate's house, or the one other kid who had a Mega Drive, or Japanese Mega Drive at school, I should say, sorry, to play it, and I loved it, and I sank so much time into it, and I thought it was amazing. Maybe the fact that it was a step up from everything else I ever played at the time had a hand in there. And as I said, the controls are by no means bad, but as an adult, I just find it really linear, which may sound kind of stupid, because I said I think the reason I've got a different perspective on it now is because I've been playing a lot of Shinobi, and Shinobi as an arcade machine is really, really linear, but at the same time, it's less cumbersome. It's shorter, it's more polished. Linear is not necessarily bad, because it can be enjoyable, but when something is kind of limited in that way, and then you get stuck in it and it seems overly sort of cumbersome, or it doesn't need to be that long, then it starts to detract from being an enjoyable game. You may not notice that as much as a child, but I certainly have now. And the original Shinobi arcade machine should have been ported to the Mega Drive as it is, but I don't know what it is. I've fallen out of love with this game. I play it now and I don't out and out hate it, but I just find it kind of, when you have those moments in games where you're like, oh, here we go, and you remember certain battles and stuff, and it's not that they're necessarily difficult, you just don't enjoy them. And I found myself doing that a lot about this game. It's weird. As I said, I adored it back in the day. I thought it was the best thing ever, but now I play it and I struggle to kind of persevere through levels. And as I said, it's certainly not a bad example of what Sega did so well, which is the sort of 2D platformer, and on a two-tier level. They did it great, stuff like eSWAT and Moonwalker and stuff like that. Did absolutely fantastically, but I struggle with this. And I wonder if Sega kind of knew that, it was what it was, a game that it got high praise, and it sold a lot of units. They kind of knew that possibly it wasn't the best where they could have done it, because I recently got given this off Pete from SNEStastic, Shinobi 3. I've never played Shinobi 2, but this is very much like Shinobi 1. A lot of elements like Super Shinobi, but it's quicker, it's faster paced, it just feels less cumbersome and chunky. And then Shadow Dancer, that I thought was an inferior game back in the day, because it's not an arcade port, and the arcade isn't a fantastic game, even though it's incredibly hard, but obviously it is kind of a direct sequel to the original Shinobi arcade machine. But I thought this was inferior, but I play this now and I far prefer it to Super Shinobi, and I get it's what I'm talking about. It's far more linear, but it's quicker, it's more fast paced, it's more just pick up and play and enjoyable. Whereas this, to me now, somewhere from being a kid and becoming an adult, it's just become a chore to play. As I said, graphically amazing, the sound is amazing, the controls are tight, but somewhere along the way I just find it difficult to play as an adult. And as I said, difficult not as in the, you know, the difficulty of the game, but just I struggle to persevere with this game. So I can't be the only person. Is there a game you absolutely loved and adored back in the day, when you were a kid, and you sank so much time into it with, yourself and all your mates, you rushed home from school to play it with everyone, yet somehow as an adult you can't really see why you did so much, or invested so much time into that game, I should say. Anyway, I'd love to know what you think. Thank you very much for watching. I'll see you later.